Ryan had always been curious about the world of beauty and fashion, though he'd never admitted out loud. Growing up in a small town where traditional gender roles were strictly enforced, he'd learned to keep his fascination with makeup, hairstyles, and clothing to himself. But now, living in the city, he felt a little more freedom to explore his interests, even if it was just through the occasional late-night YouTube binge of makeup tutorials or fashion hauls. One crisp autumn morning, Ryan was scrolling through his email when something caught his eye. Congratulations! You've won a complimentary makeover voucher at Luxe Salon and Spa. The subject line was bold, and the email itself was adorned with images of glamorous models with flawless skin, perfectly coiffed hair, and dazzling smiles. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. He couldn't remember entering any contest, but the voucher was there, clear as day, with his name on it. A makeover, he muttered to himself, his fingers hovering over the keyboard. He glanced around his apartment, as if someone might be watching him, and then quickly clicked on the link to redeem the voucher. The website was sleek and professional, with glowing testimonials and a gallery of stunning before and after photos. Before he could second-guess himself, he booked an appointment for the following Saturday. The days leading up to his appointment were a whirlwind of excitement and anxiety. Ryan found himself Googling things like what to expect at a salon makeover and how to act natural during a makeover. He even secretly bought a few fashion magazines, flipping through the pages late at night, imagining what it might be like to see himself transformed. By the time Saturday rolled around, he was equal parts thrilled and terrified. Luxe Salon and Spa was everything he'd imagined and more. The moment he stepped through the doors, he was greeted by the soft hum of chatter, the scent of floral perfumes, and the sight of elegant chandeliers casting a warm glow over the space. A receptionist with a perfect smile and immaculate nails greeted him. "Welcome to Luxe. How can we help you today?" she asked, her voice as smooth as silk.
Hi.
"I have an appointment for a makeover." "Ryan," he said, his voice cracking slightly. He cleared his throat and tried to stand a little taller. The receptionist tapped a few keys on her computer and nodded. Yes, Ryan. We've been expecting you. Right this way." She led him through the salon, past stations where stylists were expertly wielding scissors and curling irons, and into a private room at the back. The space was cozy but luxurious, with a plush chair in front of a large mirror and a vanity covered in an array of products. "Your stylist will be with you shortly," the receptionist said, gesturing for him to take a seat. "Make yourself comfortable." Ryan sat down, his heart pounding. He stared at his reflection in the mirror, taking in his messy brown hair, the faint stubble on his jaw, and the plain gray hoodie he'd thrown on that morning. He couldn't help but wonder what he'd look like by the time this was over. A few minutes later, the door opened, and in walked a woman who exuded confidence and style. She had sleek black hair cut into a sharp bob, bold red lips, and a fitted dress that hugged her curves perfectly. She extended a hand to Ryan, her nails painted a deep, shimmering burgundy. "Hi, I'm Sophia, your stylist for today," she said with a warm smile. "I hear you're here for makeovers?" Ryan nodded, shaking her hand. "Yeah, I won this voucher and I thought, why not?" Sophia's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Well, you're in for a treat. We're going to have so much fun today. But first, let's talk about what you're looking for. Are you thinking a subtle change? Or do you want to go all out?" Ryan hesitated. He hadn't really thought about it. "I guess I'm open to whatever. I've never done anything like this before." Sophia clapped her hands together. "Perfect. That means I get to be creative. Trust me, you're going to love it." She began by asking him a series of questions about his skin type, hair texture, and personal style. Ryan answered as best he could, though he felt a little out of his depth. Sophia didn't seem to mind, though. She was patient and encouraging, and before long, Ryan found himself relaxing. "All right, let's start with your hair," Sophia said, running her fingers through his messy locks. "I'm thinking something sleek and modern. Maybe a little length, some layers for movement. What do you think?" Ryan shrugged. "Sure, sounds good." Sophia grinned. "Great. Just sit back and relax. This is going to be amazing." As Sophia worked her magic, Ryan couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation building. He watched in the mirror as she trimmed and styled his hair, transforming it from a shaggy mess into something sleek and sophisticated. When she was done, she spun his chair around to show him the results. "What do you think?" she asked, her eyes shining with pride. Ryan stared at his reflection, hardly recognizing himself. His hair was smooth and shiny, with just the right amount of volume and movement. It framed his face perfectly, accentuating his cheekbones and jawline. "Wow," he breathed. "I look amazing." Sophia beamed. "I told you. And we're just getting started. Next up, makeup." Ryan's stomach fluttered with excitement as Sophia began applying foundation, concealer, and powder to his face. She explained each step as she went, teaching him about blending and contouring. Ryan listened intently, fascinated by the process. When it came time for eyeshadow, Sophia asked, "Do you want to stick with something neutral, or should we go bold?" Ryan hesitated for a moment, then said, "Let's go bold." Sophia's eyes lit up. "I like your style." She chose a palette of rich purples and golds, blending the colors expertly to create a smoky, dramatic look. She added eyeliner and mascara, making Ryan's eyes pop, and finished with a swipe of glossy lipstick in a deep plum shade. "Okay, take a look," Sophia said, spinning his chair around again. Ryan gasped. The person staring back at him in the mirror was unrecognizable. His features were soft and feminine, his eyes smoldering, his lips full and inviting. He felt a rush of emotions, excitement, disbelief, and something else he couldn't quite put his finger on. I look like a completely different person," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Sophia smiled. "You look stunning, but we're not done yet. It's time for the final touch, your outfit." Ryan's eyes widened. "Outfits?" Sophia nodded. "Of course. A makeover isn't complete without the perfect outfit to match. I've got just the thing." She disappeared into a closet and returned a few minutes later with a dress, heels, and a few accessories. Ryan's heart raced as he took in the items. The dress was a deep emerald green, with a fitted bodice and a flowing skirt. The heels were black and sleek, with a modest heel height. The accessories included a delicate necklace and a pair of earrings. "Go ahead, try them on," Sophia urged, handing him the clothes. Ryan hesitated for a moment, then nodded. He stepped into the dressing room and carefully put on the dress, marveling at how it hugged his body in all the right places. The heels were a little tricky to walk in at first, but he quickly got the hang of it. When he stepped out of the dressing room, Sophia clapped her hands in delight. "Oh my God, you look incredible," she exclaimed. "Come see." Ryan walked over to the mirror and gasped. The person staring back at him was no longer Ryan. It was a confident, glamorous woman. The dress accentuated his curves, the heels elongated his legs, and the accessories added the perfect finishing touches. He felt a surge of confidence he'd never experienced before. I can't believe it," he said, his voice trembling. "I look beautiful." Sophia smiled warmly. "You are beautiful. And don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." Ryan spent the next hour posing for photos and practicing his walk in the heels. Sophia gave him tips on how to carry himself with confidence and grace, and by the end of the session, Ryan felt like a whole new person. As he left the salon, he couldn't stop smiling. He felt a sense of freedom and empowerment he'd never known before. And though he knew this was just a one-time thing, a part of him wondered what it would be like to explore this side of himself further. For now, though, he was content to bask in the glow of his transformation. He had taken a chance, stepped out of his comfort zone, and discovered a part of himself he never knew existed. And that, he realized, was the most beautiful thing of all. Ryan's heart was still racing as he stepped out of Luxe Salon and Spa, the crisp autumn air brushing against his now smooth cheeks. He felt like he was walking in a dream, the click of his heels against the pavement echoing in his ears. Every step felt deliberate, as if he were stepping into a new version of himself. The dress swayed gently around his legs, and the necklace Sophia had chosen for him caught the sunlight, sending tiny sparkles across his chest. He couldn't stop glancing at his reflection in store windows as he walked, marveling at the woman staring back at him. He hadn't planned on going anywhere after the makeover. He'd assumed he'd just head straight home and take it all off, maybe snap a few photos for himself as a keepsake. But now, he found himself wandering through the city, feeling oddly at ease in his new skin. People passed by without a second glance, and Ryan realized with a thrill that no one seemed to notice anything unusual about him. To them, he was just another woman out for a stroll on a Saturday afternoon. As he walked, his mind began to wander. What would it be like to live like this all the time? To wake up every morning and put on makeup, style his hair, and slip into a dress? The thought was both exhilarating and terrifying. He'd spent his whole life trying to fit into the mold of what a man was supposed to be, but now, for the first time, he felt like he was seeing a glimpse of who he truly was, or, at least, who he could be. His feet carried him to a small cafe he'd passed 100 times but never gone into. Today, though, it felt like the perfect place to sit and process everything. He pushed open the door, the bell jingling softly, and stepped inside. The cafe was cozy, with warm lighting, mismatched furniture, and the rich aroma of coffee filling the air. A few patrons glanced up as he entered, but their eyes quickly returned to their books or laptops. Ryan approached the counter, his heels clicking softly against the wooden floor. The barista, a young woman with a nose ring and a friendly smile, greeted him. "Hi there. What can I get for you today?" Ryan hesitated for a moment, suddenly self-conscious about his voice. He hadn't spoken since leaving the salon, and he wasn't sure how it would sound now that he looked so different. But the barista's smile was encouraging, so he took a deep breath and said, "I'll have a latte, please." His voice was softer than usual, but it didn't sound out of place. The barista nodded and rang him up, and Ryan paid with a trembling hand. As he waited for his drink, he found a seat by the window, where he could watch the world go by. Sitting there, sipping his latte, Ryan felt a strange sense of peace. For the first time in his life, he wasn't trying to be someone he wasn't. He wasn't worrying about what people would think or whether he was living up to anyone's expectations. He was just himself, and it felt incredible. But as the initial rush of excitement began to fade, doubts started creeping in. What was he doing? Was this just a phase, a fleeting curiosity? Or was it something deeper, something he'd been suppressing for years? He didn't have the answers, and that scared him. He pulled out his phone and opened the camera, flipping it to selfie mode. The woman in the screen smiled back at him, her eyes sparkling with confidence. Ryan couldn't help but smile back. He snapped a few photos, then hesitated before opening his messaging app. He wanted to share this moment with someone, but who? His friends back home wouldn't understand. His family, well, that was out of the question. He scrolled through his contacts, his thumb hovering over the name of his best friend, Alex. Alex had always been the most open-minded person Ryan knew. They'd been friends since childhood, and Alex had never judged him for anything. Still, this felt like a big step. What if Alex thought it was weird? What if it changed their friendship? Before he could overthink it, Ryan attached one of the photos and typed out a message. "Had a crazy day. What do you think?" He hit send before he could second-guess himself, then quickly put his phone face down on the table, his heart pounding. The response came almost immediately. "OMG, Ryan? Is that you? You look amazing. What's the occasion?" Ryan let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. He typed back, "Won a makeover voucher," and decided to go for it. Kind of freaking out, not gonna lie. Alex's reply was instant. "Don't freak out. You look stunning. Seriously, like a model. How do you feel?" Ryan thought for a moment before responding. "Honestly, I feel amazing, but also confused." "Is that weird?" "Not at all," Alex replied. "It's okay to explore who you are. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. Just enjoy the moment." Ryan smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude for his friend. "Thanks, Alex. That means a lot. Anytime. And hey, if you ever want to talk more about it, I'm here." No judgment. Ryan put his phone down, feeling a little lighter. Maybe he didn't have to have all the answers right now. Maybe it was enough to just enjoy this moment and see where it led. As he finished his latte, he noticed a flyer on the cafe's bulletin board. It was for a local LGBTQ+ support group, with the words "Exploring Identity" written in bold letters. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. He'd never considered going to something like that before, but now it felt like a sign. He took a photo of the flyer, making a mental note to look into it later. When he finally left the cafe, the sun was beginning to set, casting a golden glow over the city. Ryan felt a renewed sense of purpose as he walked home. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time, he felt like he was on the right path. Back at his apartment, Ryan stood in front of the mirror, still dressed in the emerald green dress and heels. He didn't want to take it off just yet. Instead, he grabbed his laptop and opened it, typing in the name of the support group from the flyer. He found their website and read through the information, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The group met every Wednesday evening, and the next meeting was just a few days away. Ryan hesitated, his finger hovering over the RSVP button. Was he really ready for this? What if he didn't fit in? What if he was the only one there who didn't know what they were doing? But then he thought about how he'd felt today, confident, beautiful, and free. He didn't want to lose that feeling. He wanted to explore it, to understand it. And maybe, just maybe, this group could help him do that. With a deep breath, he clicked the button. RSVP. Yes. As he closed his laptop, Ryan felt a sense of relief wash over him. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in his life, he felt like he was taking control of it. He looked at his reflection one last time, smiling at the woman in the mirror. This is just the beginning, he whispered to himself. And for the first time, he believed it. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.